As of today, it's been over 2,605 days since A$AP Rocky has released an album, despite promising fans for years that a new one was coming soon.
Word.
When we get an album? Come on.
Man, don't do me like that, bro. A$AP, listen, don't make me do that right now, man.
Okay.
And year after year, Rocky has continued to hype up this album, claim it's the greatest he's ever worked on, but then provide another excuse why it hasn't come out.
Most of the songs that I usually performing and like that, leak it. And once it's leaked, it's just like, nah, it's not on the project.
Fans have gone from excited to confused to frustrated, and most worrying of all, it looks as if they no longer care. Rocky's latest song, Pray for the Gang, did not make the top 200 on Apple Music despite being an exclusive release on there, and the music video was later set to private after several hours. And when you look at just how long fans have been left waiting, you can see exactly why they've given up and how this serves as a cautionary tale to never take your fans for granted. A$AP Rocky released his most recent album, Testing, on May 25, 2018. At the time, Mac Miller and XXXTentacion were still alive, and nobody had heard of COVID-19. But since then, multiple things have happened in Rocky's life that have distracted him from making a follow-up album. In 2019, he was arrested in Sweden and spent a month in jail and had to cancel his European tour dates. Later that year, Rocky was first spotted dating Rihanna, which would soon blossom into a long-term family relationship. But in May of 2021, Rocky informed GQ magazine that he was working on a new album, which was tentatively named All Smiles. He said that he was disappointed that the experimental approach of testing wasn't that well received, but decided that he was going to double down on this approach. He said, "If I'm still doing the same ish with the same sounds and the same bars and the same visuals from years ago, what's the point? You got that catalog. You can go revisit that." As many people have guessed, he confirmed that he was working on music with Rihanna. He was also working with Morrissey, who is the former lead singer of The Smiths. Rocky described this album as a ghetto love tale, which reflected his new life in a long-term and committed relationship. And rather damningly for Rocky, this article from GQ in 2021 revealed that this album was close to completion. Halfway through the article, it reads, "When Rocky decides to drop the album, which he estimates is about 90% complete when we speak, it could usher in a radical new phase in his life, Rocky the Romantic. But in November of 2021, we probably have one of the biggest factors behind Rocky not releasing this album. By this stage, A$AP Rocky had pretty much outgrown the entire A$AP hip-hop collective. His relationships with the other members had deteriorated, and on November 6, 2021, Rocky had an argument with A$AP Relly. It was alleged that Rocky fired a gun at Relly, and although Relly was not severely harmed, Rocky now faced felony charges of assault. Ultimately, this meant that he could potentially face years behind bars. But given that All Smiles was 90% complete, Rocky fans were convinced that 2022 would be the year that we finally got a new Rocky album. And it's quite shocking that 3 years ago, Rocky acted like this album was more or less good to go. In the spring of 2022, A$AP released a track called The God Hour with A$AP Ant and the song DMB, which stood for That's My B. These songs were received pretty well, and one article in Pitchfork was jokingly headlined, "It's a miracle. A$AP Rocky released 2 decent songs in a row." 7 days after DMB was released, Rocky and Rihanna would become parents and named their child RZA after the iconic leader of the Wu-Tang Clan. Later that month, Rocky did an interview with Dazed and promised that the album was coming soon. It reads, "In the 4 years since his last LP, Rocky has fitted in and out of studios and Zoom calls to wrap up an album he swears will be out soon." The interviewer asked, "What can you tell us about your upcoming album, All Smiles?" And Rocky's response was, "One thing I can tell you is that the name isn't going to be All Smiles, I never publicly said that my album was called All Smiles. That one is more of a concept project. It's music and more. I'm wrapping up the new album now. I've been shooting so many visuals for it. I don't want to be cliche or sound like a salesman, but I've pushed myself to the limit on everything. Going from that industrial, subversive sound from the 2018 album Testing, and then graduating with a more polished sound, I just like where it is." In September, Rocky's performance at Rolling Loud New York was advertised as his last show until the album. On September 25th, Rocky would go on to perform an underwhelming 9 songs at this concert. This could hint at the fact that Rocky was burnt out or exhausted, but nonetheless, he did not mention any changes to the upcoming release. Rocky's next concert was on December 8th, and he was scheduled to perform at 2 Chainz' Amazon Music Live concert series. 6 days earlier, on December 2nd, Rocky released the song Me, which suggested that this was a single coming up on the album. However, this track also appeared on the soundtrack for the video game Need for Speed Unbound. 3 days later, Rocky did an interview with Complex and claimed that he was still wrapping things up. The interviewer asked, "Me, is the lead single for Need for Speed Unbound, but could this also be a lead up to your album? In May, you said you were wrapping up. What stages are you in now?" Rocky answered, "Yes, we're still wrapping the album up now. Like I told everybody last time, the Rolling Loud performance was my last performance until the album was wrapped. And now it's about time that we start dropping songs and getting prepared for the rollout. There's a lot in store, and I'm excited about everything. Without giving out too many surprises, it's some cool stuff in store, and it's not a situation where they're going to have to wait long. It's like ASAP, no pun intended." But this answer doesn't really give away much, and Rocky still maintained that this album was coming out before his next concert. On December 8th, Rocky appeared on an advertisement during Thursday Night Football promoting the Amazon show and unveiled the name of the album. He said, "Thursday Night Football, Amazon, first time back on stage, album finished, don't be dumb, let's go." But the concert came and went with no new album to be seen. Rocky debuted a few songs for this concert, but still left his fans feeling shortchanged. To make matters worse, this lack of an album launch also coincided with Rocky launching his own furniture design studio, Homemade. And by 2023, a lot of the more casual Rocky fans would have zoned out, and as the year unfolded, his more loyal fans would not be rewarded for their patience. In January of 2023, Rocky released the song Same Problems, which showed Rocky taking on a more socially conscious and introspective style. The track was also a continuation of the alternative sound he was going for and featured artists like Tyler, the Creator, Lil Yachty, and Thundercat. To promote this song, Rocky did an interview with Zane Lowe, and the topic of a new album was broached once again. Here he explained the meaning of the title, Don't Be Dumb.
Last album was just go dumb, dummy, go dummy, and now it's just like, kids, don't be dumb.
And he explained that the album was coming soon.
Absolutely, it's coming, it's finished, and we just putting the finishing touches on it. It's coming for sure.
2 months passed by and no album was released. Rocky did yet another interview with GQ where the interviewer cautiously asked, "Can you say anything about the new album, Don't Be Dumb? Is it still coming out this year?" Rocky's response, "I don't want to say too much about it because I want it to speak for itself. Maybe later on today, I'll play you some stuff and vibe out. But for the most part, that ish is lit. It's fire. I'm just figuring out the kinks, but it's fire, man." Rocky would release new music in July with the song Riot, Rowdy Pipin'. He also directed a commercial for Dr. Dre's Beats. To promote this commercial, Rocky did another interview with Complex. In this interview, Rocky revealed the impressive list of production credits on Don't Be Dumb, which included Tyler, the Creator, Madlib, Hit Boy, Boy Wonder, Alchemist, Metro Boomin, Mike Dean, and Swedish House Mafia. He also confirmed that there was a Rihanna collab as well as a feature from the Mexican star Peso Pluma. The Complex interviewer complimented Rocky on the hidden Easter eggs in this commercial, such as the fact that there was a hotel named Don't Be Dumb in the video. Rocky responded, "I think it's beautiful that you even notice how I meticulously placed these things in the commercial. But yeah, that's really it. Just the Don't Be Dumb hotel. That's an Easter egg. And just the death of the dummies is my new vibe." Then the interviewer gently prodded him on the fact that this album has taken quite a while. He asked, "You said you were wrapping up the album in May of last year and that you were still wrapping up in December. Any status update?" And instead of giving a usual throwaway answer, Rocky actually gave a substantial reason why it's taken so long. He said, "They gotta stop leaking it. These dummies gotta stop leaking ish. Every time we have to go back to the drawing board. But right now I think it's in a place where we tightened it up and we really can't make or break anything right now. We in album mode. It's time to start rolling out the project. This is just a single for the project. This is really happening." Rocky's song with Playboi Carti called Our Destiny and his video Taylor Swift got released without his permission. He explained that if something leaks, he no longer feels like releasing it afterward. In September, Rocky did an interview with Vogue and understandably mentioned that parenting had consumed a lot of his time, and Rihanna had recently given birth to their second child, Riot Rose. He told Vogue, "There's not enough hours on the clock now that I'm a dad. I don't have all day to create, but it's all in the pursuit of happiness." In October, Rocky did another fashion-oriented interview with Dazed. He was asked about the album and responded, "I've been really experimenting as usual, and what I like about this is it feels like my best work yet." When asked what fans can expect, Rocky resorted back to his usual throwaway answers and responded, "I want to leave expectations wide and open. I don't want to tell you what to expect. I just want people to experience it how they do naturally." Then the interview quickly went back to the more comfortable territory of his relationship with Rihanna and fashion. Any fans who had hoped for the release of Don't Be Dumb that year would be left disappointed. And in the following year, a diss track by Drake would address something that Rocky fans were too afraid to admit. A$AP Rocky was becoming irrelevant in rap circles. During the Kendrick and Drake beef, it was speculated that Rocky was going to tag himself in. On his 2023 album For All the Dogs, Drake seemed to make multiple sneak disses at Rihanna and Rocky. However, not everyone was convinced that Rocky had what it took to battle Drake. An article in The Fader wrote, "Look, I like some of the recent A$AP Rocky singles, but this isn't a fight he's going to win." And in the song Family Matters, Drake finally took a direct aim at Rocky and rapped, "I ain't even know you rap still, cause they only talking about your fit again. Probably gotta have a kid again before you think of dropping any ish again." And this verse touched at the uncomfortable truth that Rocky was now better known for fashion and being with Rihanna. 2 days later, Rocky kind of proved Drake's point, where he appeared at a Puma event with Rihanna. When someone asked him about when his new album was coming out, he once again gave the vague answer of very soon. Bear in mind, an album was coming soon 2 years ago, in May of 2022. But later that year, at long last, Don't Be Dumb had an official release date. On June 21st, Rocky launched his American Sabotaged collection at Paris Fashion Week. Unreleased tracks played while this show took place, and the words "Don't Be Dumb" were stamped across flags outside the venue. And after the event, a pre-sale link was released, announcing that the album would be available on August 30th. DJ Cast One was on Ebro in the morning and claimed to have actually heard the album, and he hinted that Rocky had updated this album to talk about Drake.
You're confirming that you heard this on an A$AP Rocky's upcoming album.
I heard songs being played. I heard Slick Rick.
The Ruler.
Yeah, that was amazing. The Ruler.
What?
And I also heard A$AP Rocky definitely addressing a lot of the main topics that are happening out there right now.
As part of the rollout, the song Hijack was released on August 2nd. This contained a surprising feature from Jessica Pratt from the 90s electronic group Portishead. But what made the song gain a lot of attention were the supposed shots fired back at Drake. Rocky went for the obvious angle that Drake was once in love with Rihanna. However, Rocky doesn't really address Drake's central point that he hasn't released an album in years. And on A$AP Rocky's Reddit page, many fans thought that Hijack was a good song, but couldn't live up to the expectations being set. As part of the promotion for Hijack, Rocky did another interview with Zane Lowe and once again complained about songs leaking.
Yeah. Most of the songs that I usually perform and like that, leak it. And once it's leaked, it's just like, nah, it's not on the project.
Yeah, because there's no context anymore, right? It doesn't sit within a body of work.
Yeah, it's just all that get leaked. And so I might perform it here and there, but it's just like, nah, it's leaked. It is what it is. It's out already. It's like man. A lot of these records didn't make it because they got leaked at some point.
And bear in mind, Rocky is almost exclusively doing fashion interviews where music isn't the priority, or these incredibly softball interviews with Zane Lowe. He's not doing the Breakfast Club and sitting across from Charlemagne or anyone that might challenge him. But ultimately, August 30th, 2024 was a date that was better late than never. However, 9 days before Don't Be Dumb was set to be released, Rocky pushed back the release date to September 20th. With sample clearance issues now added to the list of excuses, he tweeted, "Leaks and sample clearances are disrupting the album. It's been 6 years and I want to make the best album ever. I'm sorry for the wait." The next day, Rocky did an interview with Billboard where he set the release date to some stage in the fall. However, in the middle of the feature, the article casually stated he's only been working on it for the past year. Rocky then went on a somewhat pretentious rant about how this new album is German expressionism mixed with ghetto futurism, and while Rocky fans have been dying to hear this album for years, Rocky said that the 65-year-old Beetlejuice director Tim Burton has got to listen to the album. Rocky said, "I sat and I played the album for Tim Burton and he was effing with it heavy. He was rocking his head and he's like, wow, I didn't know you made that kind of music." In September, Rocky appeared on the track Ruby Rosary with J. Cole, and Rocky made some sneak disses at Drake once again. And it was quite damning that Rocky was still not taking direct shots at Drake by now. Later that month, Rocky did his now annual interview with Dazed and was asked their annual question of when this album might be coming out. And diehard Rocky fans reading this were probably grinding their teeth when they heard him say, "I think my fans can expect the unexpected with me. I got a chance to reassess the bit and do some finishing touches before we actually put it out, and I just wanted to release the music and content in the meantime. So that's what we're in the process of right now." That same month, Rocky did his annual interview with Complex and asked the now routine question of why his album hasn't dropped yet. Rocky responded, "There were different reasons why, mainly being leaks and clearance stuff, but it gave me more time to be creative and put some finishing touches. I'm a perfectionist, and I think sometimes that's my own worst enemy. I like to keep revising and editing, pushing things to the limit. I want to explore every option and every possibility. I want to assure that all of my fans will be fulfilled when they get this music." On November 3rd, a fan posted a notice that he was being refunded for a Don't Be Dumb vinyl that he pre-ordered and captioned it, "We are never getting this album." On December 10th, ASAP Mob released a statement saying, "It's been rescheduled to early 2025. We will refund your order and invite you to reorder when the album is available. As a thank you for your patience, please enjoy the attached coupon for a gift upon release." This announcement was met with scorn by fans who said, "Not sure how it's going to work out for him. Hype is dead and the pot is no longer boiling. Album has to be pretty special for it to be worth it in any regard." By now, Rocky's fans had gotten severe fatigue from waiting on this album, and with Rocky repeating the same old tired script that the album was coming soon, he would soon learn just how few people were still paying attention. But in early 2025, fans of A$AP Rocky were delivered great news. In the A$AP Rally trial, Rocky was found not guilty and escaped potentially facing years behind bars. And this was Rocky's last chance to create some hype from the album, as he could have released it off the back of beating this case. Instead, he used this publicity to announce that he had become the new creative director for Ray-Bans. What followed was the usual of Rocky doing fashion interviews and deflecting any questions about his album. In February 2025, close to 4 years after informing GQ that the album was coming soon, he told GQ that the album was coming soon. However, he at least acknowledged that his fans were getting impatient. I'm in the mixing and mastering realm of it, but I think quite frankly, people are tired of hearing about updates about the album. They're just ready to get this ish. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody wants to hear where I'm at with it, how far it is along and all that. They just want to hear some ish just to see where I'm at, and I promise I got some new stuff in store. I'm challenging myself. It's like anything, I approach it with a different tactic, degree, or finesse. In March, he would be asked about this album on camera, and we got this awkward response.
Word.
When we get an album? Come on.
Man, don't do me like that, bro. A$AP, listen, don't make me do that right now, man.
On May 5th, it was reported that Rihanna was now pregnant with her third child. The next day, Rocky was quoted in Variety magazine congratulating himself on the song Hijack and said, "I like to do things that don't make sense. Nobody would have thought to put Jessica Pratt on that, but I think her voice is so angelic. She literally let me write the whole thing, and she just sung it beautifully. She makes me want to be like a secret songwriter. I should probably get into writing folk songs. She's sick. This effing album, it represents who I am right now. It's just, I hope that it's digestible." In May, another snippet would be played at the Cannes Film Festival. In June, if you dialed 1-855-GET-ASAP, you heard a new snippet from the album. But in July, it was revealed just how fatigued his fans had become. On July 4th, A$AP Rocky released the song Pray for the Gang, which was released exclusively to Apple Music for the first 24 hours. Unlike Hijack, Ishimi, and other singles, there are no news articles hyped about the release of the song. Even more worryingly, this did not appear in the top 200 singles on the platform it debuted on. By July 6th, the video for this song was made private. In other words, Rocky or someone from his team tried to unpublish it from the internet, unreleasing a song. And while Rocky was so concerned about people not liking his new experimental style or putting out a track that had already leaked, he's now created a situation where people don't even care about his new music despite it being great and not being confident enough to leave it up. And this is arguably the worst thing that could have happened. The fashion designer Ian Connor, who Rocky had fallen out with, decided to kick him while he was down and tweeted, "Unreleased his own ish," followed by several laughing emojis. He then tweeted, "He's a babysitter, horrible artist, and even trashier clothes maker." The reality is that enough time has passed that people no longer really care about the album. This could end up like Dr. Dre's Detox, where it goes on for so long that it never actually gets released. It could end up like the Carter 5, where by the time it comes out, it couldn't possibly live up to all of the hype that it had been given. The rock band Guns N' Roses went through something more extreme when they promised their album Chinese Democracy in 1994, and this didn't come out until 2008 when they had become irrelevant. And before it eventually got released, other rock bands threatened to release an album called Chinese Democracy. And it would be pretty funny if someone like Drake or any artist that has beef with Rocky threatened to do something similar. That being said, it would be incredibly naive to assume that this means that Rocky's music career has fallen off. He still has 36 million monthly listeners on Spotify. In 2025, he played major festivals like Rolling Loud, Lollapalooza in Chicago, and is set to play Rock and Scene in France. This latest setback might just be the wake-up call that he needs to release more music and not continue to take his fans for granted. Ultimately, A$AP Rocky still remains one of the most influential figures in modern hip-hop, and perhaps unwittingly he's now influenced other artists not to let their fans wait too long. But when you look at the early generation of the 2010s that came out in his class, he's probably been the one to release the least music, and taking a 7-year break is something that even a superstar like Kendrick Lamar has never done between projects.